Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
This is awesome! This is awesome! Hello, Cheap Shot Nation. We are finally back for another wrestling review. It's been over a month now since WrestleMania, and the 10th of May marked the follow-up to WrestleMania in the form of Money in the Bank. It used to be a pay-per-view that was happening a bit further along in the year, sort of like a replacement for King of the Ring, but now it seems that it's in May and it's straight after WrestleMania, which, okay, I mean, that was cool. Obviously WWE are, you know, they hit the headlines with all of the layoffs, all of the future endeavours that they put in place, and so they are having now more than ever to be really creative. Two of the best matches I thought at WrestleMania were the two pre-recorded matches, i.e. the Boneyard match between AJ Styles and The Undertaker, and of course the Firefly Funhouse match between Bray Wyatt and John Cena. Now, we did have a pre-recorded match here. What seemed like a pre-recorded match anyway, because obviously all those things, all the things that happened in that match, which we'll get to, happened at certain times. So I believe that match was pre-recorded, didn't have any commentary, and it did have a score, which I'm all in favour of because it made it very cinematic, and that was one of my things that I really enjoyed from WrestleMania and those two matches that I spoke of. Anyway, Money in the Bank happened on the 10th of May 2020, which officially, as I'm recording this, was last night. I managed to sit and watch it with my boy Mike Eyre, who sends his regards, but sadly he is at work doing all of his stuff that he needs to do. The first part of the show came from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. Obviously there's still no fans allowed in the vicinity of the ring or in anywhere in the building. So that has to be a thing that stays in place for the time being. Let's turn that off because notifications coming through. So that is a thing that has to be, and it's really weird watching a show without any fan interaction, watching them all go to the hard cam, waiting, you know, baiting for that boo or that cheer, and it not coming. It just doesn't come. Something that I think AEW is getting right is the fact that they put the wrestlers around the ring to create that little bit of atmosphere. But WWE are doing really well with putting the pay-per-views together, even though there's no crowd. And the last two pay-per-views, I've got to say, they've been sort of my favourite, and I've got to say this might be my favourite Money in the Bank pay-per-view that I've ever seen. It was solid from start to finish, with a little bit of a lull, in particular one match, but it did lead to something else later on that only that certain person could do. But without further ado, let's get on with the show. We've got a pre-show match, we've got a kick-off match. It is Jeff Hardy versus Cesaro. These two told a great story. Obviously the big thing about Jeff Hardy is that he's come back after a long spell of injury. Obviously had his DUI, then he got injured, and now he's back. And obviously Matt Hardy has disappeared over to AEW. So Jeff Hardy now is probably on his last push in WWE. So why not put him against the Swiss Superman, Swiss Cyborg, whatever he's called these days, and show off what he can do. And even though he's cracking on, he can still go. I mean, he did win this one with a beautiful looking swanton bomb. Cesaro gave everything that he could give in this match, came up short, had a bit of a knee issue, and Jeff Hardy capitalised on that. So your winner in the pre-show match, in the kickoff match, is Jeff Hardy via a swanton bomb. He gains some momentum, and maybe we'll even see him on the main card very, very soon. But obviously in all that we get all of the build up to all of the matches, and obviously that was an hour's show. But yeah, this match was decent. You know, someone's got to start the show somewhere, and why not put Jeff Hardy and Cesaro in that spot, because why not? I mean, they're two very good workers and they did a brilliant job here. Like I say, must be said that all the WWE superstars, all the ones that are on the shows, are doing a brilliant job, even though the fans aren't there. And I've been really enjoying it. I'm not saying that the fans shouldn't be there, but they're doing the best job they can with what they have to work with. The first match of the night was the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, which sees your 8-time WWE Tag Team Champions, The New Day, in Boogie and Kofi Kingston. Can you remember this time last year? Kofi Kingston was WWE Champion. Yeah, neither can I. So it's The New Day defending in a fatal 4-way tag team match. Traditional rules in this one. It's the Lucha House Party, which is Lindsay Dorado and Gran Metalik, Miz and Morrison. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Miz Morrison. Hey, hey, ho, ho, Miz Morrison. And this is written on my notes, the Forgotten Sons, who've had a meteoric rise from NXT. And they're doing quite well. They were quite impressive in this match. This match was your traditional fatal 4-way match. So, you know, you had two people in the ring, two guys in the ring at the same time. They could tag in and out anybody, and whoever got the decision obviously won the match. So, you know, there was a lot of high flying. There was a big twisting plancher over the top rope by Morrison very, very early on in the match. Very impressive. Gran Metalik and Lindsay Dorado were just bouncing all over the ring, and like I say, Morrison was doing the same thing. Kofi Kingston got in on the action as well, with Big E providing the power in that team. The Forgotten Sons weren't forgotten in this match at all. They gave a lot of good offense in this match, and it was I was quite impressed with them. They've been shoved into the main roster, like so many people recently, but more so now that they've trimmed the roster that WWE have, and ego. They weren't really doing much in NXT, and that's all of a sudden you're in the main. You're on the main show of a big pay-per-view in the year, and it's become a big pay-per-view of the year in WWE as Money in the Bank. So, yeah, really impressed with this match. I really enjoyed this match. They were flipping and flying and going everywhere, but as Big E and Kofi Kingston tried to hit the midnight hour, they were cut off. Miz sneaks in, gets a grand skull-crushing finale on, I think it was Gran Metalik. That is broken up as well, and eventually Big E just hit the big ending on Gran Metalik for the win. No one can get into the ring to save Gran Metalik and the titles for any of the other teams. So it was quite a unique dynamic in a fatal 4-way match. It wasn't elimination, it was just a straight fatal 4-way match. You knew it was going to break down at some point, and it absolutely did. And that happened around about the halfway mark of this one. But again, really entertaining, great opening to the show. And if you're going to start a show, you might as well put tag teams on, because they have the ability, if it's done right, to work up a crowd. Although there was no crowd. Although, I was hooked by this point. After seeing this match, I was ready to watch the rest of the show, and so we did. So New Day retained the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I'm not even sure who is the Raw Tag Team Champions at the moment, but there you go. We move backstage, and Drew McIntyre is being questioned. He has been referred to as the underdog in this match, which, yeah, maybe on experience alone, but you know, he's the WWE champion. Could he ever be the underdog? You can't recreate that thing that you did twice already with Daniel Bryan and with Kofi Kingston. Drew McIntyre, have you seen the size of this lad? He is not the underdog here at all. And he, you know, the more the match goes, you saw it against Brock Lesnar, the more the match goes. I've seen it in person as well when he went against Ricochet in Nottingham for WCPW. Rest in peace. And yeah, the more he gets beaten up, the more he charges up. He's like a modern day Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior hybrid with the height of a Diesel and the power of a Sid. You know, he's like a really good hybrid wrestler, and he can fly as well. He can fly, and he can hit hard. But he talks about Rollins and how he's going to retain the championship. Obviously, he's the champion. And then we go to the second match. It is announced as R-Truth versus MVP, and the first thing I said was, wow, they're really scraping the bottom here. MVP still has a job. All those younger talents, they got future endeavoured. Anyway, regardless of that, I really like MVP. I wasn't expecting him to have a match, and so he did not. R-Truth was in the ring. He was showing MVP how to go ballin', because MVP is the one that needs to be shown how to ball. Yeah, that's going to be the screenshot for the video. And he gets replaced rather quickly by one Bobby Lashley. Comes down to the ring and he says, MVP, you can take the night off. Again, and so he does. It's like, you know, so there you go. You're the one who's going to be balling, I think he said something like that. Anyway, after a reasonably quick squash match, R-Truth tries to talk his way out of this one, but it doesn't work. Goes down to the spear, and Bobby Lashley wins. I could have done without this match, to be honest, but it did lead to something quite funny later on, and he did make, you know, R-Truth made me laugh, and it did make Bobby Lashley look like the monster that he needs to be made out to be. He is Bobby Lashley. He is huge. Get this man in the main event. He could be a legitimate contender to the Raw Championship, to the WWE Championship. Why is he not there? Why? You know, the Lana thing has been and gone now, and they're fighting and possibly divorcing, and Rusev has been future endeavoured and all that kind of stuff. Don't try and continue playing on that. And this one was the sour point, I would say, in the whole thing, because it just didn't really need to be there. On to the SmackDown Women's Championship next. It is Bayley defending her championship against Tamina. Tamina, where's she come from? Again. It seems like Tamina has been in the company, well, Tamina's been in the company for a blinking long time. And, you know, every time they use her well, she sort of falls by the wayside. And then she comes back and she falls by the other wayside. I don't know how many more waysides she's got to fall by, but she did put up a good fight in this one. Bayley, obviously the heel, doing all sorts of genuinely nasty heelish stuff, and she does make a very good heel, to be fair. She comes out with, obviously, with Sasha Banks by her side, so, you know, it's Tamina basically in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Should be noted that Sasha Banks didn't get involved in this one, and this sort of seeds of dissension were not sown any further in this match. In fact, after a really good beating that Bayley took from Tamina. Really impressive match here. Bayley doing a lot of the selling for Tamina. She at one point douses Tamina in water. I'm guessing Tamina's the face in this one, and they're going for the bully thing again that they did with Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss a couple of years ago. I don't know, but yeah, really good match. Like I say, Sasha Banks didn't get involved in this. They're chatting smack, talking smack to the announce desk. At one point, Bayley gets chucked over the announce table, and he says, "Why didn't you catch her, Cole?" That's Corey Graves. Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, eventually Bayley does pin Tamina with a crucifix pin. It looks like Bayley is down and out after Sasha Banks does get involved. Tamina fights her off. It looks like Bayley is down and out on the shoulders of Tamina, ready for a Samoan drop. Heaven forbid that should be a finishing move. And Bayley uses all of her experiences, shifts her weight, rolls Tamina up in the crucifix pin, and we get a clean victory for Bayley on this one. But after the match, Tamina's ready to beat up Bayley, because that's the most face thing that you can do, obviously, after losing. And Sasha Banks comes in and makes the save. It's the first time for quite a while that we've seen Sasha Banks and Bayley on the same page. But is this a bit of a screen, a bit of a smoke screen for Sasha Banks to come in and you know, take that title off of Bayley? She's a second-rate player at the moment, and she's multiple-time women's champion. And Bayley keeps saying to her, "I'm the best women's champion, I'm the greatest women's champion." Well, Sasha Banks has a claim to that as well. So I think I quite like the slow burn in this storyline, because you know they've done it before where they've just gone, "Oh yeah, you can have that," and it didn't work. So I quite like the slow burn in this one, sowing the seeds of dissension very, very slowly. I quite like it. You know, a good film builds up quite slowly but manages to keep your attention, and this storyline is definitely one of those kind of storylines where it just keeps you dangling on the hook before it's going to reel you in. But Bayley retains her SmackDown Women's Championship in this one, and we move on to the Universal Championship next. It is Braun Strowman defeating Goldberg at WrestleMania as a last-minute replacement for Roman Reigns, who couldn't be at the show. He is now the Universal Champion, and someone who wants that Universal Championship back is Bray Wyatt. So the seeds have been sown there. Bray Wyatt made the monster. Is he going to defeat the monster and take away what he most prizes? The answer is no, he's not. But there was some really good storytelling in this match. Now, I've been talking to my friends, my wrestling friends, who you know, I have a chat with on social media and things like that. Like I said, I did watch live with Mike, and we had a discussion on that as well. I've been speaking to the big boss, Tom Priest, as well. If you've not heard his podcast, go over to the podcast, Confession Sessions with the Reverend. And Tom, the big boss, immediately thinks that Bray Wyatt should have won this one. It's made him look weak, he's jobbed again. I don't agree with that, and it's probably, you know, this is why we are good friends, because we can disagree on things. We don't disagree a lot, but I disagree with this one. I think out of the two, Bray Wyatt has the most go in it. If Strowman had dropped the title here, I think, you know, he'd just be gone. You know, they wouldn't know how to use him again. And I think this was the lesser of two evils. And Bray Wyatt did, he was captivating in this match. There wasn't much wrestling going on in this, essentially, but he did bring out the black sheep mask, bring up the past. I created the monster. You can come and join me. He even got down on his knees and did his Bray Wyatt, Bray Wyatt family thing that he did when he was the Wyatt family, and he brought Braun Strowman into the family. So yeah, there was a lot of that. There was talking, and it's like, trying to play the mind games. There was a bit of Firefly Funhouse, and there was a little bit of wrestling involved as well. More wrestling than the Firefly Funhouse, which, is not difficult, to be honest, but I really like that match, and I said that already. So there you go. So Bray Wyatt tries to talk Braun Strowman around, tries to get him to join, the Firefly Funhouse. Braun Strowman puts on the black sheep mask, gets on his knees, and says, "Yes, no, 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 no." Braun Strowman stands up, takes off the black sheep mask. Bray Wyatt is in a trance at this point, saying he can't believe it. He can't believe that Braun Strowman is not coming back to support him. And you can see it in his face. He stomps on that mask, and as Bray Wyatt is not believing what he's seeing, he flips him over, running power slam, and Bray Wyatt loses clean after one power slam. Now, the other thing that I had discussion with Big Boss was, I think this is good. He lost clean. Bray Wyatt lost clean, but it does give him the chance now to bring out his own monster, a monster that he can control. Braun Strowman was the monster amongst men. Braun Strowman, he couldn't be controlled. He was the black sheep. He always was the black sheep, and the black sheep cannot be controlled. That's why he's a black sheep. That's why he doesn't stand in with the crowd. And Braun Strowman certainly doesn't stand in with the crowd. So I think this was a good decision by WWE to keep the title on Braun Strowman. Probably could have been a disqualification, but I don't really like disqualification victories, to be honest. Especially when it comes to Braun Strowman being the face. If it's faces, you don't want them to win by disqualification, because the face. If it's a heel champion, disqualify them all you like. They're going to keep the title and run away. That's what heels do. But a face, they need to be seen to win clean, and I quite like this. And this is a topic of discussion. So if you agree with me or you agree with the Big Boss, please leave a comment down below, because I want some discussion with you, the Cheap Shot Nation, because obviously we can't post things every single day, but we are trying to do a lot more movie reviews, because those things we can get hold of, and we can just do the reviews. But this is my passion. This is why I started the channel. It was professional wrestling, my love of professional wrestling. The movie stuff came in later, and that's my love of movies, and a bit of gaming as well. But my main focus has always been the wrestling, and I'm so glad that I can actually talk about wrestling on the channel. So we move on to the WWE Championship next. It is Drew McIntyre, of course, defeating the Beast Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania to pick up the WWE Championship. Now, I was supposed to be there. I would have loved to have been at that WrestleMania, seeing Drew pick up the championship. Alas, it was not meant to be, but someone who is gunning for his championship, a championship that he's held before. Obviously, he lost the title to Bray, to The Fiend, and that's, no, did he? Yes, he did. Lost the title to The Fiend, yes, and it was in Saudi Arabia. Let's dust over that, shall we? Anyway, so he lost the title, not really, and then he's been forced to be the heel now, because the people gave up on him. A bit like The Rock back in the day, back in the Attitude Era. And that was, in my opinion, one of the best versions of The Rock. the one that turned his back on the people from being the people's champion to being the corporate champion, although Seth Rollins has done that as well. So basically just following in the footsteps of The Rock, and you know, there's worse people to follow in the footsteps of. Anyway, it should be noted as well that Seth Rollins, although he is a dastardly heel, he is the Messiah of Monday nights, and I am the Messiah of Aspire, or at least my character is, and that's what it's going to be. Breaking kayfabe here. Shh, don't tell anybody. Yeah, I can get behind Seth. I really like this character that Seth is portraying. He's better than everybody else, or at least he thinks he's better than everybody else, and people should hang on his every word, except they don't. But in his head, they do, and they listen to him. So he should be the next champion. And he does pose a legitimate threat. He's very experienced in what he does. And Drew McIntyre, you know, he's taking his first steps into being a WWE champion. And even Drew McIntyre said that what having that championship does is paint a big target on his back. And that's exactly what it does. So, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. Was the match any good? Yes. Brilliant. Brilliant match. Brilliant stories told here. Drew McIntyre is one of those huge guys that, you know, he's going to succumb to experience, but he's going to gain experience with every single match that he's in. And I believe he gained a lot of experience in this match because Seth Rollins really took it to him. Really beat him up, took his leg out, started, you know, taking out the power game of Drew McIntyre, which was great. Such a sound strategy, and it's sound in the fact that if there was a crowd there, it probably wouldn't have gone down like this, to be fair. But there was a spot where, you know, Seth Rollins was on top, and Drew McIntyre caught him and popped his hips and just threw Seth Rollins over the announce table, and he smacked his jaw into the barricade. It looked nasty, but I mean, it was really cool at the same time. At that point, Drew McIntyre is on top. He slides back into the ring. Seth Rollins tries to capitalise again, but another couple of quick snap, I suppose they're German, no, they're belly-to-belly suplexes without going over. Not German suplexes, they're a completely different thing. Snaps a couple of times. Seth Rollins gets back on top. Looks like he's going to hits the sling blade. Looks like he's going to hit the curb stomp. Drew McIntyre kicks out, and he does hit the curb stomp. And Drew McIntyre kicks out. And with every move that Seth Rollins does, Drew McIntyre seems like he gets more and more strength. So he hits a top rope frog splash. He kicks out at one, and Drew McIntyre again gaining that strength. He's hooking up. Seth Rollins decides to go for another curb stomp. Drew McIntyre gets out of the way, hits a Claymore kick, and that is all she wrote. Drew McIntyre continues to be your WWE champion. Really, really good match. I would say the match of the night, apart from the Money in the Bank, which we're going to get to next. With the WWE Championship and that match establishing McIntyre as a legitimate champion, I think that, you know, he can go on from there and he can take on all comers that come his way, and this may be the opportunity, the Money in the Bank ladder match, which for the men and the women is going to happen simultaneously, but it's going to happen slightly different this year, and it did, and it was crazy, and it was nuts, and it was great. I loved it, absolutely loved it, which is why I wanted to try and get a couple of the lads to do this video with me over Zoom or something like that, not a paid advertisement, so we could discuss this. This match, or these two matches, happened at WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. It wasn't in the building in Florida. Money in the Bank ladder match. Basically, they start on the ground floor. The ladies started in the lobby or the reception area if you're English like me, and the men started in the gym. There's a gym at WWE headquarters. I think that's damn awesome. The ring is on the roof, and the briefcases are hung from cranes, and the ladders are there. So you then get the traditional ladder match. So basically, what they've got to do, they've got to fight through the building and get to the top. And the billing for this, the tagline was "Climb the corporate ladder for a championship shot," basically. One of the most unique concepts, and like I say, I believe this one was pre-recorded, and it made it so much more interesting because they could tell more stories and do more things that, it just had me gasping with laughter all the way through it. And this, I'm usually out by 2 o'clock. But this pay-per-view absolutely had me hooked from start to finish, and it was just really, really good. And I would love to have watched this with Woody and the boys sat with me, but obviously it can't happen that way at this point. But if anybody's interested, we could always set up a Zoom through Cheap Shot Entertainment when the next pay-per-view is on, and we can just have discussions between the lot of us and just get a load of wrestling fans together and watch a pay-per-view. Anyway, the women's match, Shayna Baszler versus Lacey Evans versus Nia Jax versus Carmella, of course previous Money in the Bank winner, in fact the first ladies Money in the Bank winner. Dana Brooke, don't know where she's come from, but I like it. Dana Brooke has been put to one side. Dana Brooke is back. Unfortunately, during this match, she gets put to one side again. But she's my girl. And Asuka. What can you say about Asuka? Nobody is ready for Asuka, and they certainly weren't ready for Asuka, as she has her entrance music, and they've all got entrances as well, so they all came in and lined up. Certainly wasn't ready for Asuka when her music hit, because she was up on the balcony doing what Asuka does, whatever she was doing. It's like doing the crab walk thing that she does, and jumps off the balcony, takes out all of their competitors, scrambles to the elevator and presses the button, and all the others were scrambling towards the elevator. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant start to the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. The men's Money in the Bank ladder match starts at the same time. It is Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, King Corbin, Otis, Dozovic, Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black. A lot of people had Aleister Black to win this one. I would not have been disappointed with any of these guys winning this match. To be honest with you, I think Rey Mysterio could have done another run. Don't think he'd be a legitimate. Then again, he's on Raw, isn't he? I don't think he'd be a legitimate threat to either McIntyre or Braun Strowman. But Rey Mysterio, he's made a career out of beating the odds, so who knows? So the men's match starts in the gym. Corbin throws some weights. He makes the first mistake and breaks the mirror. So that's 7 years bad luck already, although the bad luck comes for two other competitors later on in the match, which we'll get to again later. The guys are fighting, they pair off, they move to the next area. AJ Styles gets trapped underneath a big heavyweight from Otis, and he's like, set some reps, yeah. He's my boy. I love Otis Dozovic. He's brilliant. He's so entertaining. So Dozovic picks up these big heavy weights and plonks them down on AJ Styles. So he gets trapped. Rey Mysterio runs past and he's like, Ray, help me out. And he's like, you loco. That's my new phrase. You're loco. And he runs off. So AJ Styles is pinned. He's out of the match at the moment. The women's match we see next, the ladies running up the stairs and trying to stop each other from getting there. You've got Carmella and Lacey Evans. She gets into the lead. Asuka, they get up to the next level. The guys then battle into the elevator as well after some fighting in the corridor. They come out on the same floor. They start fighting again. All the women are like, "What's going on?" It's like they didn't even know that the men were fighting at the same time. And Asuka, she looks out of the elevator and sneaks past. Shayna Baszler does see her. She runs after her, and so the ladies do that as well. So we go back onto the ladies, and they're fighting, and they go into a corporate boardroom thing, the Money in the Bank corporate lounge or whatever Stephanie McMahon called it, who gets a cameo in this match. It's like there's so much energy in this match. I feel like I'm trying to have the same energy, and it's like, it was so good. There was so much going off. It was so good, and yeah. So they battle into this area. Nia Jax gets the upper hand. Carmella hits Dana Brooke with a painting after Dana Brooke grabs this briefcase full of actual dollars, I think, and she celebrates. She's like, "Yeah, I've won." That's where we get the the cameo from Stephanie saying that Nia Jax, come on, you've got to pick this up, clean this up, because Nia Jax is drooling on the carpet. That's the way to bury your talent, Stephanie. Well done. So yeah, Dana Brooke gets a painting smashed over her head. I think it's actually a picture of Carmella, which was ironic because Carmella actually did the smashy. And you know, Baszler's out at this point. She stands up to Nia Jax. Nia Jax gets hit with a chair, and away we go. Carmella does a moonwalk out of the room, and she is gone. Still no sign of Asuka. She is, you know, she's hiding somewhere. So we go back to the men now, and we see AJ trying to find Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio. He's trying to find Rey Mysterio, in fact. And he's trying to pull the doors when they all open inwards, but adds to a good visual because we get to see a big picture of The Undertaker, and it's like, you get a bomb. Yeah, there's a musical score, you get a bomb. It's like a foreboding sense, and it's good storytelling. So it's like, can you remember what happened at WrestleMania? Because we can, and if you can't, we're going to remind you, because there's a big picture of The Undertaker on the wall. In fact, when he's looking for Ray, he just find a big picture of Rey Mysterio on the wall as well, which is really funny, because when he turns around he goes, "Booyaka!" And it's like, oh my, this is nuts. It's so good. If you watch any part of Money in the Bank, this is the bit to watch, and I'm running out of steam, so I'm just going to have a quick drink of tea. And so we move on. AJ finally finds a open door, which Aleister Black kicks him through, and there's a coffin with lots of smoke and things around, and yeah, there's like that happened. And he gets trapped in the room, and Aleister Black continues. We get AJ and Daniel Bryan battling into Mr. McMahon's office, who has a big half T-Rex skull on his wall. They go in there, they act like naughty school kids, as Vince McMahon say, "Get out of my office!" And they, you know, go, and it's like, right, actually we need to put the chairs back. Then they put the chairs back. And Vince just doesn't look like Vince here. He looks like he's melting. He looks more like Skeletor from the He-Man movie. And yeah, he's wearing jeans and no tie. That's, you know, at least if it was going to be a cameo with Vince, get him to wear a full suit, you know. Meh. So yeah, maybe just a little picky there, but they go out. They, you know, AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan have a discussion. It's like, yeah, you were really scared in there. It's like, me? You told us to go back and put the chairs back. He says, oh yeah, I did. And they punch him in the face. They battle into an area that's like decorated like it's got a cage decoration around the outside, and it's actual ring posts with actual ropes. I want that decoration in my house. Where do I get one? I need it. It needs to be on my wall. My wall needs to be decorated like a hell in a cell because it's awesome. They battle in there. They got Baron Corbin tied up in the ropes. The women are battling there as well. So that's the next time we see them all together. Asuka skips off again, and they all run into the buffet room. Even though there's no one in the building, there seems to be a heck of a lot of food being left out. You know, I'd say that's probably a food safety thing, but it's WWE, so they're probably just going to chuck it out, which is sad. Anyway, we get a cameo from Paul Heyman this time. So he's like, oh no, I don't want that. Picks up a sandwich. I feel for him here because that sandwich looked good. He's just about to bite into the sandwich, and then everybody turns up. Otis picks up a handful of pasta, starts shaking, starts doing his thing, and he's like, food fight! So everyone has a food fight. Paul Heyman gets hit in the face with a pie, and oh man, it's so good. So good. Paul Heyman gets hit in the face with a pie, he doesn't move. There's lots of food fighting and all that kind of stuff, and as it clears, you've got Nia Jax and Otis Dozovich just looking at each other. Well, they're going to fight. Obviously they're not, but it was a cool visual. Also, no, I really liked Nia Jax's attire. Very, very knowledgeable on comic books. I remember having a Spider-Woman VHS tape. Yeah, VHS tape. I used to watch all the time. Who remembers Spider-Woman? I don't know, but it's a nice referral to that. I think it was anyway. It certainly seemed like it with the symbol, but correct me if I'm wrong. You know what to do. Get on those keyboards and type your comments in the comments section. Now, I'm very aware that this section of the video is going to be as long as the rest of the pay-per-view because there's so much to go through. I haven't even made it to the roof yet. Otis finds another buffet, of course. Why not? He's like, yeah, set some reps, and woo! I feel like doing that because that's what Ric Flair used to do. Anyway, he picks up a pie, and then we get a cameo from People Power, John Laurinaitis, and he rolls in on his scooter. I'm not even sure why. I'm not even going to go there. John Laurinaitis, he gets a pie in the face. He falls off his scooter. Now, what would have been a lot more fun here, and Mike said this, not me, so I'm not going to take credit for this, if Otis got on the scooter and drove it off. Anyway, they continue and they fight, and we get to the next part, which is, oh yeah, there was a random cameo from someone dressed like Doink. Well, the face paint, at least, in the bit where the wrestling ring is. I still need that set up, by the way, so if anybody knows how I can get one of those, that would be great. So we finally get to the final part of the match, and we see Asuka and Nia Jax battling onto the roof. Shayna Baszler's completely gone by this point. Carmella's been put through a table. I completely forgot that. That was during the food fight. And yeah, so Asuka manages to fend off the other ladies that are available, that managed to fight their way up to the top. Of course, Dana Brooke has slipped over, I didn't mention this either, around the kitchen area where the chat was mopping. There was a chat mopping. Asuka threw the mop at the rest of them, hitting Shayna squarely in the stomach. She's out. Not from that, from something else. I'm not even sure this is even in the right order, but I'm just trying to remember everything that went off. Asuka manages to climb the ladder. We see Corbin coming in, he's climbing the other side of the ladder, and for some reason they fight. And I'm not quite sure why, because, you know, at this point they could probably just pull the briefcases down and both be Money in the Bank winners. And I'm quite glad that Asuka beat up Corbin, to be honest, because I couldn't stand the thought of Corbin being a two-time Money in the Bank winner. Anyway, Asuka manages to grab the women's briefcase. She is now Miss Money in the Bank, and she can cash that in on any champion she likes. Maybe she'll go back to NXT. She's planting the seeds there. Charlotte is currently the NXT champion down there, the NXT Women's Champion, so why not? That's the question. Anyway, she disappears really quickly, as if by magic, and we get the rest of the men coming out. So we see Rey Mysterio, we see Otis, he comes out eventually, we see Aleister Black, and obviously Corbin is already out there. At this point, I think, yeah, we do see Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. So all 6 of the men are present. And when we get to the top of the tower, they fight. Corbin throws Rey Mysterio over the side of the building in what can only be described as first-degree murder, and follows it by throwing Aleister Black over the side as well, and commits 2 counts of first-degree murder. I'm sure he's probably wanted by the FBI at this point for throwing 2 people off the top of a building. Anyway, should we carry on with the wrestling? So yeah, Corbin tries to get back in. He gets knocked off the ladder. It is then a race to the top between AJ and it's a race to the top between AJ and Corbin. They're fighting over the top of the ladder. Corbin gets taken out by who else but Elias? And who wants to walk with Elias? I do. He gets taken out by Guitar. He falls off the ladder. AJ's grasp, the briefcase slips out of his hands, and who is there? It's my boy Otis Dozovich, and he is your Mr. Money in the Bank for 2020, and that brings us to a close this year's Money in the Bank. Absolutely brilliant pay-per-view, one of my favourites, if not my favourite Money in the Bank pay-per-view besides 2011. Obviously the CM Punk John Cena match was absolutely brilliant, but yeah, overall absolutely fantastic, brilliant match. The overall feeling behind the winners and losers mixed. I don't know what the reaction is to the whole pay-per-view, but a general consensus between my circle of friends and the people I've got on Facebook in the wrestling community is that this was one of the best Money in the Bank ladder matches and one of the best pay-per-views that WWE have put on for a ruddy long time, and long may it continue well into the era where we have to get people back into the arenas, because I've got tickets to WrestleMania next year, so I want to go. Damn it! I'm turning to Vince McMahon. Anyway, fantastic pay-per-view. If you've not watched it yet, obviously I hope you've skipped this video, you're not watching it for spoilers, but watch it If you've watched it, watch it again. Really, really good. I'm going to go back and watch the Money in the Bank match again, because I haven't laughed so much in a wrestling match for a long, long time. I know I try and treat this with, I still treat it with a lot of respect. I mean, obviously I'm currently training myself, and I have a lot of respect for this industry in terms of entertainment, in terms of athleticism. This was pure entertainment with a lot of athleticism in it as well, and great storytelling between all of the competitors, more so the men than the women, but this one, really good, fantastic. I'm going to give this pay-per-view, if I'm going to give it a rating, I'll definitely give it a 4 out of 5, just because it is definitely one of the best. And if you like it, you like this video and you feel informed and you feel like I've had the energy to tell you everything that happened after staying up until 3:30 in the morning, because we did watch the Undertaker documentary as well, which I think I might do a video on next. And yeah, I mean, it was just really good. And if you like the video, you know what to do. Hit the like button and do all the YouTube-y type stuff. Go to the t-shirt store, get your merch, and support the channel. You can do that. I'm quite happy for you to do that just by clicking that subscribe button. And on that note, you are the Cheap Shot Nation. I've been your host, the Reverend Luke Edwards. We'll see you next time. Bye.